Episode of Accelerate the Great. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davis, and I'm excited to bring you this particular episode. We're probably on episode 72 if you're listening to this right now, and the last 10 or so episodes have been singles, right? Solos. So I'm gearing up to just do a lot more interview style episodes. So today is going to be pretty sweet. Today we're going to be talking about YouTube, right? How to make money with YouTube, how to run your first YouTube ad, how to monetize your YouTube. I'm so big on learning a high income skill, and one of those high income skills is YouTube. So what I'm decided to do, I said, hey, who's better to talk about YouTube than a person who runs his company, runs our YouTube ads? So I'm like, yo, let me get him on a podcast and drop some game for us. So without further ado, y'all, I want to introduce my friend, someone who I work with on a personal level in terms of our ads, and just an all-around amazing guy and expert. Shash, what up, brother?
What's up? Thanks for having me on here. I'm super happy to be here.
Hey, man, super happy. Yo, I don't think you know our story, like really how I actually found you. So before we jump into it, so I was with Billy Jean like a year ago at his mastermind, and he was just talking about like, yo, you need to get on YouTube. If you're not spending at least $100 a day on YouTube, or at least $100 a day running ads, like you should be. And at the time, I'm like, yeah. And I waited. 6 months passed. I heard what my friend said he was doing on YouTube. His name is Josh. He had a company called Weighted Comforters. So they were selling all these blankets on YouTube, on Facebook and YouTube. I think they were spending like 5 to 10K a day on ads. I'm like, yo, man, I'm looking to get running on YouTube. Who do you suggest for me? He sent me you via Upwork. Like, yo, here's the guy. 6 months before, I never got to it. Then Peter Prue, someone who I highly look up to, amazing entrepreneur, amazing leader. I'm like, hey, man, I want to start running YouTube. Who should I deal with? He then sends me you. I didn't realize till like a month later that, yo, this is the guy that Josh sent me 6 months prior. So more of the story is you were referred by two incredible entrepreneurs. So one of the things I personally love is a referral. So when I hear a referral, I don't like to try to do no look, and I just go all in. So how did you become a YouTube expert, sensei? Like, what was the thing that got you into YouTube? Why YouTube for you? How did you learn this game?
So funnily enough, one of my good buddies, Greg O'Gallagher from Kinobody, he was basically, he needed help with YouTube ads. And I was already doing a little bit of help with his online marketing. And he said, hey, Shash, I want to be Ty Lopez, but in the fitness niche, I want you to run my YouTube ads. So I started running it. And at that point, I had zero experience with YouTube ads, right? I literally had never touched paid ads or YouTube ads. But I figured it out, right? Like it was pretty, straightforward in the sense of like, okay, I just gotta basically make sure that things line up in terms of, you're cutting out the losers, you're focusing on the winners, you're testing ads. And within 3 weeks of me taking over his ads, we were spending $5,000 a day and getting like a 2x, 2.5x return. And his brand blew up because of that. He basically became kind of like YouTube famous. You had other YouTubers make a bunch of videos about him. A lot of them were hate videos, but his business just exploded. Like it basically, I think in a matter of few months, he doubled in revenue. And a big part of that was because of the huge virality and the sales that the YouTube ad campaigns generated for him.
Wow. So, and how long ago was that?
That was a few years ago. I think that was like maybe 2015 winter to 2016. And
So
then, yeah.
it was by mistake. Like he said, just try this. And if it works, we'll just keep doing it pretty much.
Yeah, he gave me the best creative. He had some amazing videos that we tested with. So, I kind of had that on my side, but yeah, it was essentially, there wasn't much competition and, it just hit and we basically started generating a lot of revenue from it. And that's how I got started with YouTube ads.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Someone getting started with YouTube, why YouTube? Like you got Facebook, you got all these other mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Why should people start, whether running ads on YouTube or posting content on YouTube? Why, and what's maybe some tips for someone getting started?
Yeah, so here's the thing with Facebook ads. Go to any Facebook ad group on Facebook, and the number one thing you'll see is people saying their account got suspended or banned. I've literally seen this happen so much. So if you have all your eggs in one basket, right, like Facebook ads, if your business is solely dependent on Facebook ads and that's your life, basically your main source of traffic, you're at risk because, if Facebook decides that they don't like what you're selling, or for whatever arbitrary reason, like people get shut down for no reason at all. So for that one reason, you don't want to be a sitting duck. You want to have at least multiple sources of traffic, and one of those sources is YouTube. And the second reason is if you're charismatic on camera and you got something that converts, then YouTube is an awesome source of traffic because it is meant for charismatic people, right? If you're running YouTube ads and you're good on camera and you can get people's attentions, you can get really great leads from YouTube. So that's another reason why I like YouTube ads, is because it kind of is placed to the strength of video. So I feel that that's really big because, on a text ad, they don't really get to see you and your personality or your brand, while video conveys 1,000 times more in a 2-minute, 3-minute video than text does. So that's another reason why I love YouTube ads. And yeah, I mean, like the biggest thing with YouTube as well is I think there's less competition in a lot of niches. People are getting into it, but they're not really, it's not at the level of competition that Facebook is. Facebook ads are extremely competitive. There are 10,000 agencies that are Facebook ad agencies. On the other hand, with YouTube ads, there is literally very little competition. There's perhaps 1/100th of the competition. So, if you're looking to advertise for your business, I think that's really great that there's less competition. And if you're looking to build a high income skill and you're trying to learn how to run ads as a skill set to do for other people, then there's less competition as well.
Wow. How long would you say it takes to learn how to effectively run YouTube ads? Like, cause I go on the ad manager. I'm like, yeah, I'm better off just letting you guys do this. It just seems like for me, I'm not like tech savvy. So I'm just put me in front of the video. Let me go to work. I'm not put me behind it and let me try to figure out how this stuff works. So somebody was like, yo, I want to develop a high income skill, Shash. How long would you think it would take for someone to learn this skill, and what would be that first step for them?
Well, I mean, as I said, it took me like 3 weeks and I was spending 5K a day profitably, right? Like without any prior paid ad experience. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that's going to happen for you, but things can happen very fast. And, I personally think if you're motivated and you know what you're doing, you could, let's say, learn this as a skill set and within a few months be earning a full-time income from this that allows you to live wherever, travel wherever, and just be able to kind of basically have a lifestyle of freedom, right?
Yeah. And speaking of lifestyle freedom, you've been in Colombia. Every time I talk to you, you in like a different country. I think you said you're in Colombia now. So your skill set has allowed you to travel around the world and kind of live life on your own terms, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. The best part is I get to do it with my best friends. So me and my best friends, we used to live in Toronto, and I think when we were around 18, 19, 20, we all wanted to work online and we were all broke. We were all trying to trying to make money online with like random things. And I think at a certain point, 3 of my friends and me were living in my mom's basement. And then, a few years after that, we moved into a penthouse in Medellin and lived in Medellin together for a year and a half. So it was like a huge change. And it just came to show that, like, if you're motivated, there's so much opportunity in the whole online marketing space, whether it be with YouTube ads, whether it be with e-commerce. It's basically comes down to like, of my group of friends, 90% of us are now traveling the world online, even though we were all broke in my mom's basement a few years ago. So.
Wow, that's crazy. So what's somebody's first step to identifying if they have a good, there's 2 different things you could do on YouTube, right? You could be posting just your regular ads, like your regular content, and then you could be posting ads. Someone like me, we're posting regular content just for people to watch videos that we have, and then we're also posting content to acquire leads. So for someone who's just starting out, do you suggest them what type of content should they be posting on their YouTube? Is there certain keywords? How do you create? I don't know if you can create. Is there a formula for creating a viral video? Like, I'm not sure. What would be some steps for a beginning entrepreneur to getting on YouTube and putting their content out and then monetizing their content? Mm-hmm. And not just the YouTube monetizing, but I mean more like with ads.
Got it. Yeah, so I think it comes down to what kind of business you're running, where you're at in the business. So let's have an example, right? As you said, like the high income skill. Let's say you want a high income skill and you want to do this for other clients. So a good way to start is, let's say you find a client in let's say your local area that does perhaps provides a service, right? So maybe you find a local service business and you tell them, hey, I'll run YouTube ads for you and I'll get you leads for your service. In that case, what you would do is basically you would create a script for them, which is basically the video, and then you would help them shoot it. And then you would basically go into Google Ads, set up that as a video ad, and then start running traffic to it. And now you're generating leads for this client. So let's say they're a local basically plumber. You could run an ad saying, hey, have you been having this issue with your water in your house? Do you find that your faucet pressure is weak? If so, download this free report on how to fix your water pressure issues. And then, you basically have the sales team on the back giving them calls to close them. So that's like one example, right? Like you could take that skill set and start selling it to local businesses. Now, maybe you are an entrepreneur that's selling courses online, just like you are. So in that case, I do highly recommend a YouTube channel, creating content around your topic. I'm going to say that I'm much more experienced with paid ads than on the organic content side, even though I do have a YouTube channel, but really the paid ads is my main focus. So with the organic side, obviously the key is consistency. That's kind of what the consensus is. You just have to consistently upload video. My channel is pretty small, but it has helped me basically close multiple 5-figure deals. So even though it's a tiny channel, it's basically it's making real money. So like that's the other thing, right? Like don't worry about how many subscribers you have. Worry about the business impact. That's much more important than having 100,000 subscribers that basically you're making $100 a month from, right? Because there are people like that who have a big fan base and are making no revenue from them. But yeah, if you're doing something on the organic content side, use that to grow whatever business or product you have, right? You have a course, use that organic content to warm them up, and then retarget the people who watch your videos on YouTube with ads. So if you have a YouTube channel with a ton of subscribers, then retarget those people with an ad, telling them to get to a webinar, telling them to get to a video sales letter. And then from there, you can sell them into your course, your program, whatever it may be. So, and then if you don't have an organic channel at all, but let's say you have a course, let's say you have something really well set up, you don't need an organic channel to run YouTube ads.
Wow. So look, this kind of selfish, but are we retargeting people who watch my content? Or do you got to have a certain level? I know at some point, I think you got to spend $50K for the email list, but is it a certain level before you can retarget?
Yes, so you can retarget website visitors and YouTube viewers at a lower level. And actually, that's where most of your sales come from, is retargeting. And basically, I would highly recommend doing that, right? Like the easiest way to start with YouTube ads is retarget your website visitors and your YouTube viewers. And then the email list, you have to spend $50K before becoming eligible for that. Then you have to have an account manager and have them do it. So it's like getting that email list sorted out is harder. But then in the meantime, you have lots of other options for retargeting.
And tell someone new here, what is actually retargeting and why is it important?
Retargeting is basically taking people who are, interacted with your website or watch your YouTube videos and then targeting them with an ad.
Got you. And for example, y'all, so if you go on Facebook, if you go follow me on Instagram, then literally probably within a few minutes, you're going to see me on your feed with a sponsored ad. Then you might see me in your game store. You might just see me all over the internet because you are being retargeted. So that's definitely just an important key for a lot of people who run an ads. Retarget. So that's definitely a major key. Mm-hmm. For you, Shash, what is your favorite strategy when running ads? Like, is there a special strategy that you personally like that someone should start off with? You just literally gave one. You just said, well, this is a great one. Go find a local business, give them a script to run a particular ad to, then you run it with them. How do you decide what the breakdown is on the profit share? Just for example, because I'm imagining I'm coming to this client for free, like, hey, I got the skill set. I run YouTube ads. Here's the script. I want you to try it. We're going to go try to go get some new clients with what we're doing. How do we decide on how much is that worth? Am I getting a monthly fee? Are we doing rev share? What would you suggest for that person? Because I believe there's someone listening to this who's going to actually go try it. So what would you tell them?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on, number one, like what your risk tolerance is. Number two, it also depends on your skill set. Like when you're starting out, honestly, you would probably, you know, either do it on performance basis or you would do it on a very kind of low fee just because you're trying to get that experience, right? But yeah, I think as basically one of the big things with profit share slash rev share is you want to make sure you have as much control as possible. So a big problem I see with a lot of people who do kind of lead generation and so on is they don't have control of the leads after, let's say, they give the client the leads. So let's say you're sending the leads to a local plumber. You have to make sure they're following up, right? Like if they're not following up, if they're not calling, then that could be an issue. So it depends on how deeply you want to get involved with the client. Now, the people who I've heard who do profit share really, really well, what they do is they go to the client, tell them, hey, I'm going to generate the leads, but I'm also going to make sure that you do the follow-up. I'm going to help you with the follow-up. I'm going to set up the system for following up and salespeople. So they basically set up like the whole kind of, they basically kind of own the whole marketing machine from lead generation to conversion. And then the client just does a service. And then when you do that, you have complete control, and then you're able to actually make sure that you can basically make the client money, you can make yourself money. So it's really important to figure out how exactly you want to have it set up, right? Because obviously it's profit share sounds very profitable, but you need to make sure you have as much control and visibility. Otherwise, it can go south pretty fast. And I've had that happen in the past where I was doing lead gen, and basically like I would have to constantly be like, hey, I would listen to the call recordings and be like, hey, you didn't follow up properly. This guy called you, but you never called him back, right? Like it was basically, unless you're willing to go that far in with a local relationship, which is fine if you are, but just be aware of what you're getting yourself into, right?
That's good. So that's a key, managing kind of the leads, because what's the point of getting these leads if you're getting the leads and no one's following up with that lead, or that lead is dying? So that's definitely that's a major key. I'm happy you said that. I believe, I don't just like to tell people the good of everything. What are some cons of YouTube? Some things that maybe people should look out to when they're running? Like, of course, Facebook will shut you down when you're saying certain things almost instantly. They'll ban your account. They're like straight cutthroat. Any cons that people should look out for on YouTube?
Well, I think it comes down to that YouTube ads is, it is an ad platform, right? Like it's competitive in a way. Like it's not as competitive as Facebook, but there's still competition. So you do need to treat it very seriously, right? You need to make sure your follow-up sequences are set up. You need to make sure that you're testing things. You need to make sure that, you're basically trying out different things, right? Like you need to make sure your customers are happy. If they're not happy, then ultimately, like people will say bad things about you, and then you're not going to be able to close them, even if you have the best ads. So there's ultimately, it's like YouTube ads. It's not a magic bullet. You have to it's part of your business, right? Like it's how you generate leads, and then you have to figure out the hard work or fix doing the kind of the conversion from those leads. And then the other side is that there is a learning curve. There's not that many resources out there on YouTube ads. It's not like Facebook where there's 50 million courses and there's people talking about it all the time. So you have to kind of dive into it, and initially that might mean that you're kind of a little bit in over your head and you're just like struggling a bit, but it's worth it, right? Like you're basically you're going into ad platform, but there's not that much competition, so you kind of have to go through an uphill battle at the beginning, and then you can really get great results from there on.
Should you, when running your YouTube ads, is this something you should just keep on every day? Like, is there a sense of ad fatigue where you need to be switching up your creative, or when you find a winner, you just keep running that thing?
Yeah, so ultimately, like when you find a winner, you do want to keep running it until it starts doing worse. And the way we kind of look at that internally at our agency is if cost per lead goes up, click-through rate goes down, then we start seeing ad fatigue. That being said, ad fatigue usually comes in either if you're in a really small niche, let's say you're in a very small kind of industry, or you're in basically running the ad at like many thousands of dollars a day in ad spend, right? Like we've spent seven figures on individual ads, right? So ad fatigue it's there, but at the same time, it's like, if it's getting you cheap leads, you keep running it until it doesn't. But you do want to be testing new creatives, right? We always suggest testing a few new creatives. And as for running it every day, I highly recommend keeping the ads running every day. I think like basically pausing and unpausing the ads is not the most beneficial for the algorithm because it makes it much harder to optimize, because you're essentially kind of like you're dealing with more complexity because every time you know stop and pause, you're kind of messing with the algo a bit. So that is definitely a recommendation. I know we're talking about switching to an evergreen model for you to get like better on that. But yeah, those are kind of a few tips. And I mean, another tip I would also really want to focus on is that initially when getting started, focus on keyword targeting and placement targeting. Those are like the easiest types of targeting to go for.
And what does that mean for someone who's like, Shash, what is keyword targeting placement? Or what does that mean?
Keyword targeting is when you're basically using keywords so it's basically, it goes, you know, let's say on a YouTube video, right? You have the title, you have the description, you have the metadata. When you're doing keyword targeting, it looks at that data, right? Like that metadata from the title, description, tags, etc. And then it basically finds videos related to that keyword. So let's say the keyword is, you know, like how to fix a ceiling fan, right? So then YouTube will basically find videos related to that and run your ad in front of those videos if you're doing in-stream ads. So it basically allows you to really get, you know, very targeted videos. And placements is you choose which videos to target. So let's say with placements, you can go to your competitors' channels, download all their videos, and place your ads in front of them.
Wow. And it's so incredible because I can literally go to somebody's channel who's a competitor and be like, hey, you're about to watch this video about this, but I believe I have some info that can help you even more. It's just, well, what you could do now with online advertisement, it amazes me because you can get directly to your customer opposed to just like billboard, the old way of billboard advertising on the highway. It's just everyone seeing it versus, yo, I can actually show this to an audience who actually have real interest in seeing this and possibly willing to buy, whether it's a product, whether it's a service that you're selling.
Exactly. And in your case as well, right, your best performing audiences are actually based on your they're not like a direct competitor, but they're kind of like, you know, a big name in your space. Right. And so targeting those people gets us cheap leads and it gets us purchases. So it basically is, you know, there's like a lot of tools and tricks that you can use with YouTube ads to basically target very qualified people.
Let's go. What do you think about product advertisement? I don't see too many, like I see maybe courses being sold, like cars, like, but I don't see a lot of products. Like just say if I'm trying to sell a hair growth oil, like am I targeting maybe women and just showing them like can you do before and afters on YouTube or no? Because I know Facebook, they don't be caring.
If it's part of the video, it's done naturally, then you can do it. Like if it's I don't really see an issue with doing before and afters as long as it's part of the video, right? Like let's say it's a story about like somebody, you know, part of the video is like, hey, look at this example of Jeanette who started using this hair oil, and you know, this is what you know, this is what the before was like, this is what she looked like before and now, and then afterwards she's like, oh, look at my hair now, it's completely way better. Something like that can run without any issues. You may have to put a disclaimer in there at the bottom, but YouTube's generally a lot more relaxed than Facebook when it comes to compliance.
Why do you think though? Like why do YouTube almost like I don't care, and Facebook like you got to walk on eggshells for some reason?
I think Facebook has more competition, and also Facebook has been under the spotlight, right? Like with the whole like the Russian election hacking stuff. You know, there's just so much stuff that Facebook has been under pressure from. Like, you know, with Cambridge Analytica, Google's been kind of getting a little bit of the pressure, but much less. Like Facebook has been bearing the brunt of it, so that's why they're a lot more strict. And also, Facebook just has way more competition on it, so they're not as worried about banning advertisers and losing revenue.
Right. Yeah, YouTube is like you're saying, like the reason why I like YouTube advertisement, we're working on getting profitable with our YouTube advertisement. The reason why I personally like YouTube is one, everyone can't do video. Most people are so frightened to do video. And I'm like, man, I love doing video. I could film an ad. Like I have, you guys got over 100 ads that I just have sitting that we haven't even used for YouTube yet because I don't have an issue. And the other reason why I like YouTube, people are going to YouTube with the purpose to learn, to watch something, when you're on Facebook and you're just scrolling down Facebook and the ad just pop up, it's just, they're like intentionally just showing you an ad. You may have no interest in the world with it, but YouTube, you're actually going to go learn something. You're going to go view. Facebook, you might have just been, or Instagram, just straight for leisure. But YouTube, I just feel like the client seems more like involved. Like they may be more serious. So that's why I like YouTube. And this is why I've been suggesting people, hell, you got to immediately start running YouTube ads for your business. I don't care if it's 10 a day, 20 a day, but you need to do it, man, now.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's the biggest advantage is, on YouTube, if somebody's watching a video on how to, let's say, how to become a better weightlifter, right? That's the person who's going to buy your weightlifting product. If somebody's watching a product about how to become a better, if they're watching a video about how to be, cook a certain type of food, and you then have an ad for, hey, do you want to learn how to cook this type of food? It's like that, basically that fit is so much better that you're targeting people who are actually very interested in what you have to offer. So that's like the biggest advantage of YouTube.
Yeah, that's a major key. So Shash, I don't want to hold you any longer. Any final tips that you would like to share with people just about YouTube optimization or anything just to help people? Like, I really want people in 2020 basic now, like, to really just get started. What is something that you feel is stopping people? Is it afraid to film video? Like, what's stopping people from getting in this industry, in YouTube advertising?
I think a lot of it's filming video. Honestly, you can start with selfie videos. We've had clients where we scaled ads with selfie videos to like 5K a day in ad spend with selfie videos. So you can start with selfie videos. Just, make sure you have decent audio, like, it doesn't require that much work. And yeah, in terms of getting started, keywords and placement targeting, that's like a really, really good place to start as well.
That's good, bro. So, man, I appreciate you. So, real quick, y'all, one cool thing that Shash do, he has an agency. And as you guys know, I don't often talk about on our podcast, just like advertising, but I just wanted to say this guy is really good at what he do. His agency runs like all of my YouTube ads. Right now, we're spending like 20K a month on YouTube. So I'm hoping to be able to spend a lot more soon once we dial in. I'm really excited about it. So Shash, talk about your agency, kind of what type of people, if someone's listening to this, they like, yo, I'm ready to run some YouTube ads, or have you run it? Can you talk about that? And I think you're also coming out, or you have a course that teaches people YouTube. So if you want to briefly touch on those two, in case that is something that can help one of the people here in my audience who tune in to Accelerate the Great.
Cool. So with the agency itself, that's basically what me and my team, we have a team of 8 people basically that works on just YouTube ads. And with the agency, it's for people, if you're doing around 75K a month in revenue, if you are, let's say, especially if you're in the info product space, then hit me up. I'll hook you up with a special deal because, if you mention Neo's name, and basically that's really for if you're ready to scale and get to the next level. Now, the course is if you're, let's say, starting out, you want to learn a high income skill like YouTube ads, or you want to perhaps, you have a business and you want to get to $200, $300 a day in YouTube ad spend without having to, necessarily go through the whole kind of big process and the big commitment of hiring an agency. It's better to get started on your own and then to, switch over to an agency when things are better running. And that YouTube ads course is also something that, basically it's very useful for beginners and intermediates.
Got you. So cool, man. I appreciate you, Shash. Thanks for dropping value. And what we're going to do, I'll drop, I guess, something in the show notes. So if you're watching this and you want to either have his agency manage your ads or just learn this skill yourself, you could click the link inside the show notes, learn some more information. And the biggest key that I've been pushing, Shash, lately is just really learning a high income skill, because I just think about when you learn this skill of advertising, you almost can print money. Like literally, if you can spend $1 and make $2, spend 1,000, make 2,000, the more money you spend, just the more money you make. So if you learn this skill, when people like, how do I find customers? You can pay to acquire customers, and those customers are going to pay, they're going to pay over and over again. So it gives you the opportunity to scale a lot quicker, especially if that's a goal of yours. So bro, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. and being a guest here on the show. Thanks for adding value. And I hope that someone, one, go take massive action on the information, and two, if they need your services, they'll get with you. So, bro, thank you so much. And guys, again, I want to thank y'all again for tuning in to Accelerate the Great. My number one goal is to keep bringing you some of the most incredible, some of the most amazing people in the world. I want to just shed light on them and pretty much show you guys how to get to that next level. So I wish somebody would have shared this info to me, but I know as you continue to listen to episode after episode, your mindset is changing and your income, impact, and influence is growing because you're applying the info. So without further ado, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Have an incredible day. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a review below, and let us know how you accelerate the great. And let me know how you work out, how it works with your first YouTube ad. Peace, y'all.